So Extra Life is a grassroots fundraising initiative. It's founded by gamers, it's run by gamers, and it has been around since 2008. Since that time, we've raised over $14 million for children's hospitals all across the United States and Canada. It works just like a run or a walk or a bike ride fundraiser, except without the caloric output of having to do those things. You do what you love to do. If you like board games, you play board games. You like console games or PC games, you play those. We don't even care if you want to go outside and throw a frisbee. Whatever it is you want to do that you love to do to help local kids, you can do. Extra Life was founded in memory of Victoria Inman in 2008 after she passed away from leukemia. She was diagnosed at the age of 11. She fought that leukemia for 4 years, was diagnosed 3 separate times and beat it and came back. And after she passed away, a group of my friends at a site called Sarcastic Gamer got together and threw this fundraiser together in hopes of raising $10,000 for the hospital that treated Tori. What ended up happening is a whole lot more people than we ever imagined got on board. A lot of community websites got on board, a lot of podcasts joined us, and we raised $120,000 that first year. And it sort of lit the fuse on something that would go on to sort of just explode all over the entire continent. And as I said before, we've raised over $14 million since then. Last year we raised $6.2 million in 2014 alone, and it's pretty remarkable. 50,000 participants participated last year, and it has exceeded our expectations in every way, and it just continues to do so. We've seen an amazing amount of growth in terms of the number of people participating in Extra Life and raising money. When we first started this just 7 years ago, we had 1,200 gamers that were participating each year. Now in 2015, we expect nearly 100,000 or more gamers to participate. So one of the biggest things that's fueling that growth is actually our guild program. So we have as I mentioned before, it's a grassroots initiative. Our guild program is a physical chapter of Extra Life in 54 different cities in North America, across Canada, all over the United States. And next year we're expected to add as many as 50 more cities to that list. They have a president, a vice president, a secretary of volunteers that come directly out of the Extra Life community and participate in recruiting initiatives. So if you think about the guild program as sort of the Army recruiting office, it's like that. We're recruiting people to join the Extra Life movement in these different cities. They attend conventions and video game launches and movie premieres and anywhere that there's going to be a large group of people. And since gamers are now kind of everywhere, you don't have to hunt for them. They're not some white rhino you have to track down. They're easy to find because they're everywhere. We're finding success recruiting in all kinds of places. We've had bridal shows that have been fantastic places because all you do is put out a video game console and all the guys at the bridal show are over there and you can recruit them there. But to say that is also sort of undersells how many women participate in Extra Life. We have roughly 30% of our participants are women, and it's really cool, diverse, amazing group of big-hearted gamers. So the core tenet of Children's Miracle Network hospitals, of which Extra Life is a program, is that the money stays where it's raised. And so we don't raise money for a specific disease. We don't raise money for a specific piece of equipment to put in 170 hospitals. All 170 hospitals have 170 different needs that need to be met. In one area, it could be a neonatal intensive care unit in a rural area that might not have that technology available to them, and which means that babies that are born prematurely may not have the chance to get to a big city for the treatment that they need. In another place, it could be cancer research. Some of our hospitals in Children's Miracle Network hospitals are leading the world, like Children's Hospital Philadelphia is leading the world in leukemia research. But not every hospital has a cancer research program. And so it's the needs of our hospitals on a local level. The funds that they get are not restricted to a specific use, but they must be used to help save the lives of kids. And many of the funds we raise actually go to help kids who have no financial recourse whatsoever in their family. They have no insurance, and to be a member of our network, you have to give the same care to every kid that walks in your door, whether their family has insurance or not a penny to their name. We're seeing a growing number of patients and patient families and hospital staff that are getting on board with Extra Life. I think that some of the coolest stuff I've seen is here in Orange County, Children's Hospital of Orange County. They actually had a marathon on our game day in the Child Life area there. So we're seeing a lot of these types of things. We're seeing Extra Lifers going into these hospitals in Florida. There's one of the hospitals in Florida, Arnold Palmer. Our Extra Lifers go into the hospital and help inventory their video games, clean the consoles, clean the controllers for infection control, bring in new games and help them weed out the ones that aren't any good, and help make sure their game libraries stay up to date, fix things, how controllers can get gooey and stuff. They get all that stuff fixed up for them. So our Extra Lifers participate with our hospitals, not just on game day for the marathons, but they're becoming sort of residents at the hospital in a way. We've seen a lot of different things happen, and one of the coolest things that we have had occur was a group by the name of Rooster Teeth, who have done some pretty amazing work for Extra Life and raised a ton of money for us in the past. They did a fundraiser where they made a poster, and they were thinking they might sell 1,000 of these posters and raise a few $1,000. Ended up selling, I think, like $250,000 worth of posters and donating those funds to Children's Miracle Network hospitals to help Dell Children's Hospital in Austin. But that's a big group with a big voice, right? Rooster Teeth, everyone's heard of them. But then you have folks who do something equally heroic. There's a lady in North Carolina every year. She doesn't have a wide network to fundraise from. So instead, she does what she likes to do on the side and bakes brownies and cookies and stuff and takes them to work and puts a change jar out, and that helps raise money that she puts to her Extra Life account. There's Jim Sterling one time did this crazy thing where he played, what was that karaoke game that everybody was playing a couple years ago? SingStar. It was. Jim Sterling did this thing where he played SingStar for 24 hours, and he let the people that were watching pick the songs. Now by the end of it, it was more like gasp star, like you could barely understand anything he was saying. But these are like, people just do some really crazy, inventive things. There's a lady named Carrie Swidecki who's doing a 140-hour Just Dance marathon. It's going to set a Guinness World Record to help benefit her local hospital. So it ranges from wild to conservative, but what we found is that rather than say you must do this, you have to participate in Extra Life in this exact way, by keeping it completely open for people to do what they're comfortable doing. The folks that want to really put themselves out there and get crazy can. The folks that aren't comfortable with that, they don't have to. We end up with this grassroots movement made up of lots of really unique people that is really a force to be reckoned with in the fight to save kids' lives. For years, we've enjoyed the support of a lot of companies, from Tryon Worlds to PlayStation to Reddit to Twitch is one of our biggest sponsors and supporters. And these companies usually participate in a fairly similar manner. We don't necessarily go to these folks and say, will you write us a check to help children's hospitals? We come to them and say, hey, will you help us get the word out? Because every time we get somebody to sign up for Extra Life, statistically speaking, they go on to raise about $100 for their local hospital. So by having a voice as loud as PlayStation or Reddit, how many people, millions of people can they reach? That's our ask to those companies to help support us. But they also participate in other ways. Tryon Worlds and several other companies, PlayStation, gave us digital codes that we could use to incentivize fundraising. Hit $25, you get this. And they're easy for us. We don't have to mail anything. We just drop a code in an email and send it to someone when they hit those fundraising thresholds. But we've got a few more on the horizon we can't quite talk about yet, but there's some fun stuff coming down the road as it pertains to our company partners. So every year for game day for us has been the same for the last few years. We've been working with one of our superstar Extra Life teams, Rackspace, which are based in San Antonio, Texas. And we do a big broadcast there, and Rackspace throws this huge gaming LAN party, and it's really super fun, and everybody comes. This year, We're going to be trying something new. We're not ready to talk about exactly how it's going to look. And it's not because it's a secret, it's because we don't know yet. But it'll be something based out of Salt Lake City, where Children's Miracle Network Hospitals is headquartered. But we're going to be kind of incorporating all of our partners from all corners of the world in this as well. So it should be a really interesting stream as soon as we figure it out. This year's Extra Life event is November 7th. It's the normally a 24-hour gaming marathon, but November 7th, if you check your calendar, is the day that we set clocks back. So it's going to be 25 hours. So it'll be an extra long, fun session of fun. It's a sense of community unlike anything I've ever felt. There are some very strong communities in the gaming world, strong ones. There's something special about doing something all on the same day together, all for the same reason, all doing it for our local kids. And that's really the thing I want people to remember about Extra Life. It's easy to participate, and this isn't a charitable initiative where you're sending your money off to some central place and it might help someone in your neighborhood. The money you raise stays where it's raised. It stays to help kids in your neighborhood. It stays to help kids that your kids may go to school with. It helps families right down the street from you. And so that's what I want people to remember is while we do this internationally together, it has a local impact that is extremely measurable, and it's very important. The kids in your community are worth fighting for. They're worth playing for. That's what I'd like people to remember.